Go.
Each year in the United States, 19.9 million students enter college. These students have a lot to think about, including the rising cost, distance from home, and social and cultural acceptance. One way to make the transition easier is for these students to enter Greek life, where they have an opportunity to create a new support group and new friends at their school. One problem with Greek life is the alcohol consumption and the dangerous activities that are involved. This raises our question. Is participation in Greek life beneficial to students despite the negative effects it can have on health, academics, and well-being?
While membership in Greek life promotes greater campus involvement, leadership skill development, and social interaction, Greek life for college students should not be encouraged.
This is due to
negative effects to overall health,
hazing,
and poor academic performance.
the promises that are given to new students who are deciding whether or not to pledge are fellowship. Fellowship means that fellowship appeals to the students because it will make them more comfortable in community. Community service. Community service is used as a way to bulk up job resumes and create an easier way to search for jobs. The idea of scholarship presents students with the idea that balance will come with their college experience, including social and academic balance. Finally, leadership. Leadership skill development is very important for future careers, and to develop these skills further, they often look to Greek life. The one promise that is truly beneficial is leadership. Over 4,000 students in Greek life accounted for large amounts of leadership growth. Some opportunities that are presented to Greek life students and solely Greek life students are new member education programs and conferences. One program took place over a 10-year span and included over 2,000 fraternity men. This conference helped these students create leadership approaches based on principles and better tools that will help them enact change. Fraternity and sorority students also serve in positions of authority, which help them develop responsibly and often involve large levels of peer interaction. The promises that it does not showcase include
While Greek life promotes greater campus involvement, social interactions, and leadership skills, Greek life for undergraduates should generally not be encouraged. And one of the reasons is alcohol use. Increased alcohol use has a negative relationship. Has a negative relationship to students' overall GPA and academic achievement. Stereotypically, Greek life is associated with high levels of partying and alcohol consumption. Statistically, this is true. Studies found a direct relationship between increase in alcohol use and higher levels of, an increase in alcohol. Studies have found a direct relationship between Greek life participation and an increase in more frequent use of alcohol. But how does this increase in alcohol affect the grades of fraternity and sorority members? Well, fraternity and sorority members self-reported themselves for consuming more alcohol than non-members and have a higher chance of receiving lower grade point averages. Furthermore, studies also indicate that that the increase of alcohol use lowers the chance of earning a high GPA by 11.7%. So clearly, the increase of alcohol use inside the Greek system has a negative relationship between students' academic achievement.
In addition to the effects that the large amounts of alcohol consumption has on academics, it also has a major impact on health. One way this is seen is the numerous cases of sexual assault in Greek life settings. It is found that fraternity and sorority members are twice as more likely than non-Greek members to engage in sex with someone without getting consent. This is due to the fact that many people are drinking at parties, and this causes them to become intoxicated and do things that they may regret. According to a study done on the consequences of binge drinking, done at the University of North Carolina, over alcohol consumption among undergraduate college students has led to over 97,000 sexual assaults, 400,000 cases of being too intoxicated to know if sex was consensual, and 100,000 incidents of unprotected sex. Sexual assaults lead to many issues such as depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, eating and sleep disorders, and some even go as far as self-harm and suicide. Many eating disorders have also arose due to the alcohol consumption associated with Greek life. Students have tried different methods to compensate for all the drinking. They began to alter their meals in the form of skipping meals and eating foods with less calories or fat. Some will also binge and purge to try to restrict calories in anticipation of eventual where they will be drinking. They do this so that they can either become intoxicated more quickly, or some do it to prevent weight gain from alcohol, but nevertheless it is not good for their health.
The next one is pledging. Pledging oftentimes has negative effects on academic achievement as well. When students enter college, they have to adapt to the rigorous time demand of the academic schedule and workloads that the college courses entail. Participation in Greek life requires a substantial amount of time commitment and participation in social events, especially during the pledging semester. Therefore, an increase in time devoted to the Greek life activities often distracts students from their academics and studies during the time of pledging. Furthermore, pledging also requires participation in community service, and studies indicate students undergoing the pledging process perform at lower academic levels than their non-pledging colleagues. Furthermore, it has been reported students' GPA dropped sharply during the pledging semester. In fact, students who begin the semester with a high GPA, on average, their GPA drops by 0.29 points. So clearly, with the high levels of time devoted to activities during the pledging semester, students have less time to focus on their academics and studies. Therefore, it results in a negative effect on academic achievement during the pledging semester.
Pledging is a very stressful and scary time for girls who want to take part in Greek life. The stress and fear of not being accepted can negatively affect their mental health greatly. Girls will stress excessively over not being accepted to their desired sorority, and this causes them to, as Carly stated, decrease their academics. But not only does it affect their academics, but it also causes them to change their self-perception. Many see rejection as a reason to think about themselves badly. Some say they're not good enough, or some even think that there's something wrong with them. As seen by Figure 1, the results of this study show that those who are not successful in the recruitment process show a significant decline in self-esteem at the end of the process.
Hazing is a way to be accepted into a group or so-called family, which is overall known as Greek life. Hazing is not just a religion, racial, or gender issue, but a behavioral problem. Chenoweth wrote, hazing is a behavioral problem. Hazing can take place in a variety of circumstances where there is a group identity and entrance into the group. It also takes place in many different forms. Hazing typically involves risky behaviors such as intensive drinking or potentially life-threatening activities. Which leads me to the next point of what are the results of hazing. Scroth wrote, more than 60 students have died in hazing since 2005. One example being a kid named Michael, who was forced to walk across a frozen lake with 20-pound backpacks on, where he was beaten and tackled until he didn't get up. They waited an hour until they took him to the hospital, where he later died. It is also said that 95% of students have been hazed but did not report the action. Loyalty is a huge part of fraternities and sororities, and no one wants to turn on their other members. It is also difficult to prevent when students who recognize hazing found it more as a positive than a negative consequence. Students recognize hazing as a campus culture, with 70% of students reporting they knew hazing existed. So many more people are hearing of hazing incidents due to the fact that social media and technology use is peaking. What makes last year's hazing deaths so unusual, though, is of the publicity they attracted. Timothy Piazza, a PA University student, has his final hours captured by his sorority brother's Snapchat post and sorority house security cameras. This allows anyone in America to see the incident. Even though it seems that there aren't many actions taking place to stop hazing, 5 fraternities have banned pledging, hoping to attack 2 of the problems, which are intensive drinking and hazing. Hazing is not only affecting the students, but also the universities, which leads them to ban pledging as a whole.
However good the leadership skill development may be, overall, Greek life is not recommended due to poor academic achievement as a result of excessive alcohol consumption, partying, and the detrimental health effects from dangerous activities. The college experience will be more beneficial for a student without taking part in Greek life.
Thank you.
You said we can be.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Okay, you guys ready for oral defense? You got to stay there. Yeah. Okay. So a couple, one question each. All right. Carly, can you describe how the content of the team presentation was changed as a result of group discussion?
Well, there was some stuff that we had to leave out for time reasons. There was more that all of us pretty much could have talked about. I left out a major part of
Just keep going.
Yep, keep going.
this is
Just go.
and leaving out those parts such as hazing affected the overall group presentation.
Okay. Alexandra, how did the group decide to include Mia's perspective and conclusions in the overall presentation?
From Mia's perspective, originally we didn't think was as great of a problem as it turned out to be, and through her research, we found that actually her problem was more relevant, it seemed, than the rest of our problems. And while they are all very relevant, it seemed that many people were affected due to like the mental health issues, and it just seemed like it was very relevant, and she had a lot of substantial information about it.
Mia, reflecting on your colleagues' work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem your group identified?
I would actually say Carly's, because academics is obviously like the biggest part of the college experience. Like you go there to get a good education, and obviously participating in Greek life, if that's gonna affect your academics, then why even participate?
And Kristina, in what way did you improve your ability to work with a group as a result of this project?
We learned I learned how to take different lenses and use them and leave out other things that we found like less important, and learned that like not everything you write is going to be part of like a group thing.
Okay.